7th, 2026. Welcome to Disrupting $100 trillion industry, day one. So, my name's Karush Koilu. I am the founder of Zayuk. Zayuk is a property management technology company. We're really just a company that provides value for customers that own property or manage property. If you own property, you almost certainly want to consider using our system if you live within an HOA, or if you're an institutional investor, also considering looking at our suite of products. In this live stream, day one of 100, it might be more, honestly. I could do this for a year, to be honest. We're going to just go to market, and we're going to do that predominantly through marketing assets, through social media, through creating content, and attempting to create a system and schedule and several protocols that allow us to just get our name out there, get our vision out there, build trust, build brand, be a scalable business, hyper scalable business. And in the last few weeks, Gary Vee has come out with a few articles, an article about the solopreneur, and the solopreneur is a real thing. It's way easier than ever to get a following. I would argue 20 to 30 to 40 years ago, you almost certainly couldn't do this without, I mean, social media is a network. And so you're able to leverage that network for your own content. And if it works out, fantastic. But before, you couldn't leverage a network like that. A network that had 2 billion plus people on it that may or may not engage with your content. And that's what's difficult. And I think a lot of businesses, at least what Gary Vee says, have a difficult time understanding how to put out content in a way that is relatable, attractable, people actually want to engage with, because they look at it strictly from an advertisement sense. And granted, from some companies, maybe, that works, but you want to make people feel something. And so you want them to be engaged with you and your brand and your company. And for someone like me, property tech, I have a second business, not going to talk about it now, but in Zayuk, this is something that I focus on, is trying to make people understand what we do through social media. And it's unfortunate, actually, I need to use my phone for several things. It's going to be way more difficult off of a phone, but we'll just keep going. Like posting things to Instagram and Instagram and TikTok is easier through the mobile. LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, X. Those you can all do through web fairly easily. Then you have Instagram, TikTok. TikTok you can also do through the web. Instagram is very difficult. Instagram's web app relative to their mobile app is a lot less robust. I would say the same thing with Threads. The Threads web app is a lot less robust than the Threads mobile app. And therefore, without a mobile, you really can't do too much. You can't have as sophisticated posts in Instagram or Threads, really. I mean, Threads you can. It's not super sophisticated, but Sorry, I just got a connection request, so I wanted to check it out. So you can't do much, but we're going to focus on what we can focus on and try not to do more than that. So I've been posting a bunch of articles. I think it's good. I need to put these articles up on our website. Yesterday, we put out this article, The New Normal for California HOAs, and it was about the history of laws in California regarding HOAs, and we highlighted 3 laws in particular. And we're doing this backwards. We're actually creating this on our website. So maybe I can just share my screen. So the new normal, navigating the California HOA landscape, the big 3 changes: SB 410, AB 130, AB 2460. AB 2460 lowered quorum thresholds, and this allowed, if there was any reason for governance or voting to not occur because quorum wasn't able to be met, and here we say zombie board because at times that would create an issue where the board, there was no ability to vote on a new board or pass the votes because quorum wasn't being met. So AB 2460 was partially to alleviate that. I'm also gonna number 2, AB 130. This one was very notorious within the HOA industry, the $100 fine cap, because it's difficult. People can take advantage of that and do things that are going to cost the HOA more than that fine cap. And although there are instances where, whether that's from the management company or the HOA, where an excessive fine is being levied out, it's not the most optimal because, again, homeowners can take advantage. Not to say, and when we talk about Zayuk, we're talking about accessibility, always accessibility. And it's difficult for people to understand. It's just getting the information without having to ask somebody for it. And as a homeowner, many homeowners feel they deserve that right, but in an HOA, they can't get that right. It's too difficult. And it's not that necessarily whether it's the board or the manager doesn't want to provide that to them. It just takes a lot of steps to get to that point. And it's a conflating issue. That might not be the right word. It compounds. It's a compounding issue. And when you spend a lot of money on a property and you're not able to get some information, or you feel there's too many barriers to entry for you to understand your own property, which is understandable because HOAs are complex systems, complex businesses, not simple at all. So, it's not obvious. Again, it's not obvious. All right. So we spoke about AB 130, the $100 fine cap, and then SB 410. Let's do. So AB 2460 amends Davis Sterling to streamline HOA director elections, authorizes boards to adjourn meetings for 20 plus days if quorum is not met, and establishes a 20% quorum for the reconvened meeting. Also mandates 15 days notice for these reconvened meetings. Very complex. The specifics within laws, and it's very difficult. You hope that your state is doing justice. A lot of times you're not sure. That can easily, you know, making requirements like this could be very difficult. SB 410 amends the Davis-Sterling Act to mandate HOAs disclose recent inspection reports of elevated exterior elements to prospective buyers during sales transactions. So that means if you're about to sell your unit, they need reports on your triple E's, and no provider is going to give you a better analysis of that than Zayuk, where you can actually put your assets to various work orders, contracts, and have traceability against those assets, which is what this is all about. It's all about traceability. It's all about being able to provide the information to various stakeholders when they need it, accurate, on time, as is, and the plan forward too. How much is this going to cost in 1 to 2 years? All right, so we posted that. Additionally, I posted at my own social media piece. The one I just mentioned was something I posted on a Zayuk page, but for this, I posted this essay on creating systematic social media content distribution protocols using your just not posting randomly, and to understand there's an array of suites available to you and to post across all of them. And for me, one thing is video. I'm really attempting to get better at video because video is very important. Video is the most important. But also written. Written is extremely important in the age of AI. I actually have to do something regarding the website and to get that to be more readable amongst bots. I believe we got something that said the let me get that email. Yeah, it's new reasons preventing your pages from being indexed. So that's important to understand that report. And why. Google Search Console is great. Yeah. I mean, in the age of AI, what I'll say is it says it's all about the questions you're willing to ask and being curious, having good questions, prompting, not accepting things for as they are, no assumptions is critically important, because if you just assume, or if you're not able to articulate your thought patterns and what you're attempting to communicate, if you can't actually say those words or put that into the chat, you're not going to get the response that you want. And so people talk about prompt engineering. It's basic communication skills at this point. It's expanding your dialogue. It's diving deeper into the intention of your words. It is being intentional and direct, sensical, and not letting any stone go unturned. That's the wrong word. Getting your house in order, I don't believe that's the right word either. But being curious, diving deeper, not assuming, people who do that will just go farther with AI. And if you aren't curious, if you don't dive deeper, there's a chance that AI could just wrap you in a way that social media reels do, in a way that, scrolling does. I think we're probably going to see a new form of whatever scrolling is, the death scroll, with AI in the coming 10, 20, 30 years, maybe 10, 20 years. And then I saw this meme. It was pretty funny. I think I should be able to pull it up, and I'm going to pull it up. Let's see. I bookmarked it. Oh, it's an image of a horse and a human being. And the caption is, "Then I told the horse, cars won't replace you, but horses who drive cars will." And that was a pretty sobering little meme there. I'll share it briefly. So let me maximize that. As you can see here, top right, then I told the horse, cars won't replace you, but horses who drive cars will. And obviously, that is a play on what people are saying about AI and people replacing other people who use AI. And I think it's certainly more complicated than what a horse and a car are meant to do. This is, thoughts and intuition. It's not just basic movement, but it's still sobering and it's still a question mark. I mean, people say a person with AI is going to replace you, but what happens when one person can do a team of five's work and then can also create a marketing team behind that? There's no replacement there. I mean, you know, there's no replacement there. That's just one guy using AIs to do a lot more work. And that work would have been non AI based before. It would have been a human. I mean, truthfully, we've seen like Silicon Valley, which I think 10 years ago it put out this episode where the like best coder had an AI do all the coding for him, and that was unimaginable. I think outside of niche contexts, and of course maybe in that it was a show, but it is the standard now. And if you're not coding with AI, you're foolish. You're foolish unless your work doesn't allow you to do that. But it is so powerful relative to not doing it with AI. It, it's a little unbelievable. And even with things like, people might not like AI derived text. As long as you edit that text, take out the fluff, make sure it makes sense, have it relay your purpose effectively, what does it matter? I think what people don't like about AI is it can take what you want to communicate simply and efficiently and just expand it to a degree that is way too in depth, too difficult to digest for humans. And it's our job. Again, I've said this with coding, that coders need to move on from engineering to architecture. You no longer can be just an engineer. I mean, an engineer didn't have to worry about how these various systems connected. But now AI is providing engineers so much space that they have no choice. If you stay within your lane in the AI world, you're just not going to be able to add value. I think companies are likely more than willing to train their software engineers on AI. They want them to be extremely proficient in AI, and they want them to do more with AI. I don't think they necessarily want to fire their engineers. I think they want to add more value, compound on these their employees that have these skills. And I think for many employees in the job market, software engineers, right now is your time to shine. You go up to your employer and say, "Hey, I'm looking to become an AI expert, and I'm looking to do that through our company. How can we put me in position to add value to this company through AI so that one, the company is positively affected in a way that not necessarily everyone can do by you implementing AI, and two, you gain the skills that you want that will give you a future. But you have to go out and ask your boss. You have to go to your boss and be like, "Hey, boss, I want to be an AI master and I want to help the company in any way using AI." The boss will be stoked. Maybe that's not necessarily what you need to do at the moment, but you give that to your boss. They know, one, I have an employee that is AI ready. Two, your company likely has a lot of operational procedures that can be affected positively by AI. Three, you have a better opportunity to get OTJ, on the job training, OTJ training. And that is what you want. You want to be proficient in AI, and you want to do it in a way that will help your company and give you the skills to be more valuable in the job market. Because you do that for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months forward, you say, "Hey, I just went up to my boss," and then maybe you look for a job. Anything happens, say, even with the AI scale, they still let you go. You tell your next employer that you're just like, "Hey, like, we saw this AI stuff. I wasn't great at it. So I went up to my boss and I said, 'Hey, I want to be an AI expert.'" And if they can give you any sort of avenues to work with AI in the company, in the context of the company, you're going to do, you're going to just be able to bring that experience to your next job interview and communicate it with more authority. And that's what you want. You want authority. You want confidence. You don't want to walk into an interview, a meeting, whatever it may be, a sales meeting for me, or a job interview for you, and not have the confidence that you are going to add value to that other partner, to the person on the other side of the table. That is, you need to have the confidence to be able to go into that meeting and know that you are able to come with the proposition of value. And that requires a lot of work. You don't, and that's where people get this imposter syndrome from. It's because they don't put in the work and they want the result, or they go for the result. But you need to put in the work. You need to put in a lot of work. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard. But if you want it, very likely achievable if it's been achieved by other people, especially in mass, whether it's a job, whether it's a sale. You just need to put in the work. And for me, when you first talk to customers and you're first building out a product, software product, but even now we're an inspection service that creates digital twins, so we're kind of a physical service based company as well. When I first built the product and I didn't know the customer's issues, it was a lot. I came into every sales meeting with a lot less confidence, and I was very distressed when I didn't get the sale. But now, when you build something that's incredible, and you hear some of you need to take cues off of your customer. You need to listen to them, to your customer, about just everything. You need to listen to every single small thing that they say, every reaction, words, tone, timing. And that takes, I mean, you can't teach that really. That's something that comes from, again, going back to what we've been talking about this whole time, curiosity. You are a part of this world. Act like it. This is not, and social media is the best example of this. You are not a voyeur. If you don't post on social media yet are on it all the time, that's voyeurism to a certain degree. You need to be engaged, and it's not healthy. You need to be engaged with your community. And social media is the easiest community to be engaged with. It's the most valuable. If you're good at it, the rewards are exponential, as I spoke about yesterday. And you just need to be more about it. All right, so I'm going to continue. I'm actually going to do some posting right now. So give me a minute. So I'm posting a little something on LinkedIn. Gonna post a little something on fantastic. Fantastic. And I'm just posting things all over various social medias. So I just posted on X and LinkedIn for Zayuk. I might repost, do a little post. Oh, hell yeah, I got some viewers. It's, yeah, let me go back to Threads real quick. Now let's do Threads and maybe Facebook. Maybe I'll just go straight to Facebook. The thing is, Facebook's really interesting. Facebook's really interesting. Or Meta at this point. You can't really call it Facebook anymore. You can't really call it Facebook anymore. Let me go try and post on this thing. Switch. But it's interesting because it just has three, three of the top 5 social medias are one company. And Threads, the way Threads came up was really, really interesting. So it's just important to consider like what that means. But regardless, I just posted that to Facebook. Sometimes you got to turn off the curiosity, if you know what I mean. So I just posted that to Facebook, LinkedIn. Great. And this is what I'm talking about when I mentioned you can't really do a sophisticated things with without the phone on Instagram and Threads, which is unfortunate. But you have to take it where you can. Okay. So next, we've been creating some videos. So I created one, and I'm about to create a second one of post that today, God willing. Of HOAs in various cities in San Diego. So let me start off. Did I already download one? Looks like, yeah, we're gonna do La Jolla, actually, believe it or not. Gotta hit the big players, Gotta hit the big players. Great. So now what we do is we have like this script where we use a couple different it's software, but we've created it so it does this certain video that we like to see. So it's called Safe Maps. I guess I'll just share it with y'all. I guess I don't really do that too often, but I guess I'll share it with y'all. All right, so window. You can't really share the entire screen. Yeah, I'm not going to share the entire screen with you guys, but maybe I will in a bit. At the moment, I just need to get this data in there. So we collected data from various HOAs in San Diego. And now so let me just All right. So I'm creating a map now. I guess I can show you this. Pretty basic stuff. And yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I should, it's tough, dude. Oops. Let me just go here. Boom. Let's just cut it right here. I actually don't even know where. I'm looking at the zip code. It's 92109. But 92109 includes Mission Beach dues, and I'm not going to do that. So, in case you don't know what, boom, 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 boom. Well, I'm actually going to do that too. Maybe I will include the whole thing. It's a big chunk. Oh, that's not La Jolla. That's freaking, damn, that's not even La Jolla. Right. Yeah, you really have to go deep into this thing. I don't want to, though. Let's see if they have. No. So I'm just looking for mapping files. LA County actually has a pretty sophisticated version of that. I'm just going to have to. Hawaii is huge. I didn't realize that. La Jolla. Yeah, this makes a lot more sense regarding that. All right. So let's see how I want to create this. Yeah, I'm just creating this myself, and this might be good. This might not be good. God willing, it's good. Damn, you've got a long way to go there. But that was the most rocky part. Shit. Sorry. Boom, 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 boom. I'm very curious to see how this overlays. I don't expect it to be too great, but if we can stay outside just enough to where the admin boundary doesn't make a huge deal. Oh, shit. All right, we're here. We're just going to start it right there and go up this way and just say this is the admin boundary. It doesn't really matter. It's all for entertainment anyways. Keep it within the country club. Boom, boom, boom. Natural park. We don't need a natural park there. Just big, easy boundaries to work with. Ended at the cove. That's going to work, dude. That's going to work. Look at that. No one can see how far off that is. Okay, here's a few. Here's a few. All right here. Shit. Did that work? No, that absolutely didn't work. That's the only place I would say where it's like obvious. Just right there. Other than that, I just can't. Let's see what that does. There we go. So All right, this is it. We're done there. It's good enough for now. All right, great. So now I'm going to create the Java Geo JSON, post that in there. Great. All right, so let's see how this works. Let's see how this thing works. Okay, so it's not perfectly angled, and one part is super fucked up. And that's not gonna work. I don't think any of these are correct. Let's see what this thing did. All right, so okay, so I need to close that. I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, I am done sharing. So I'm putting this out. Now, let's see what's going on in HOA news. Four pending bills. Boise cities don't control HOAs. A new Eagle committee wants to encourage collaboration. That's in Boise. Electrical union says offer to restore Western Auto sign for free rejected by HOA. Federal court. There's a lot going on. HOA task force punts on offer to alter dispute resolution. There's a lot today. Yesterday, there was way less stuff on this. The limits of HOA power. Georgia's fight for authority. And next week, I'm actually going to be reaching out. This weekend, I'm going to do some verification on our systems. But next week, I am actually going to be reaching out to news platforms and saying, hey, especially the ones that report, because there are a few news platforms that report, particularly on HOAs. And I think what we're going to attempt to do is speak about let's keep it open governance, direct financials, and accessibility. I think you focus on those three things and not try and promote the product. Say, hey, we're an HOA management company, but we want to talk about these three things within the context of your news platform. And you'll see if anyone bites. If they do, that's great. If they don't, you just add it to your list of rejections. And getting rejected is not a big deal. I've walked past getting rejected a long time ago. It stopped mattering to me to a point where it's just so you just excuse me. Let me just close some stuff. Sorry, I'm getting that video together. But I'm super excited for that because in the coming year, I'm going to really try and put out my book as well as open governance. And the book is going to be not just about HOAs. It's not even talk really about HOAs. It'll mention it, but it will talk about property. It'll talk about the building as a system of systems. It'll talk about physical infrastructure. It'll bring in AI and it will bring in crypto. And it will talk about property-backed stable coins likely and insurance. And it will be quite an exploratory venture. I'll just say that. It will be something. Oh, 2 hours. So you got to post something then. Take the opportunities where you can, man. Take the opportunities where you can, regardless of anything. I need to Sorry, I'm just. Wow. I mean, sometimes with AI, what I find really interesting is when you have to prompt AI to research. It's like, especially Google's AI, it's like, you're Google, you're Gemini, just do some research. Man, people are crazy. And by people, I mean this AI. This AI is dumb as rock, man. Obviously not, but Great. I just actually replied to a comment on one of the top VCs in PropTech. So, God willing, no expectations though. A lot of people wouldn't even be able to put that comment because, like, why do I deserve to put that comment down? Well, it was directly replying to something he said and something he relates to. And if you're bothering him, he'll block you, but it's actually a very appropriate comment. And there's no reason to get blocked. There's no reason to get blocked. Check out this. I mean, I love AI. People don't really like to use AI, I guess. They may think this is not authentic enough, but look at that article, man. Boom. That's something right there, dude. That's something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just foolishly optimistic. But, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Something that I do a lot right now is I'm saving and bookmarking posts. I didn't do that before like 4 or 5 months ago, where I would bookmark things and save things and be like, all right, I'm going to come back to this. Maybe I can't answer this right now, but I'm going to come back to this. And sometimes when you get back to it, it's too late. But a lot of times it's not. Let's see. Let's see. HOA. I don't know, man. Even with AI, I don't think it's going to be easier for non-coders to code. I mean, because you still have to put in work. And I mentioned this a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, with AI, coding has become less. When you wanted to implement a new configuration or a new integration with software and a different software system through maybe the cloud or just in general, you would have to learn a whole new form of configuration, a whole new software, a whole new architecture. If it was back end, it could be something else. And now you have an integration machine expert that has all this knowledge in software integration on your team in the computer. It's really powerful, and it gets a lot of these blockers that before AI, you could spend days or weeks on this one little thing, like a syntax error, for example. I haven't gotten a syntax error in 18 months because of AI. Truthfully, I mean, it just doesn't happen. And so it's just important to understand that. All right, so let's do Zayuk. What should I post? See, what I should post is a video. Actually, that's what I need to post. And Okay, so since I can't post a video right now, I mean, I can, but it's going to take some time. All right, so we were talking about the news. HOA news is one thing. Creating this mapping script is another thing. I think that's good. I think those are the only things we need to do. Great. Hopefully this works. You just gotta go, go, go. You just gotta go, 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 go. All right. So today's live stream is probably only going to be 2 hours, but moving forward, we can expect up to like 5 hours. That would be crazy. I've never live streamed at that length in my life. Even this 113 is for an individual. I've done podcasts at this length, but not okay. So supposedly we now have a good GeoJSON. So I'm going to test it out. All right, so one, you have to change that top piece. HOAs of San Diego, La Jolla. That was fucked up. Okay, I think that is actually Regents La Jolla. It's just too low. That could be Via La Jolla. I believe that is Via La Jolla, actually. That looks like a community. Via Toscana. All right, these things too high. So the AI is going to change up the script. But I believe these are working perfect, dude. Look at that nice piece. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to close that. All right. Georgia HOA. So this I'm gonna go through a few of these. Georgia HOA board members of HOAs and industry representatives are urging Georgia lawmakers to preserve the authority of HOAs. Advocacy comes as several bills push through General Assembly and aimed at limiting HOA power across the state. This is why I get upset. It's because the system is really flawed. And what's most flawed about it is education on the homeowner. And it's tough with the existing industry. The existing industry does not have good leverage because it's allowed the industry to get like this, whether it's, of course, no individual, not a single company, not a single person, not a single state, but what I've seen across so many states, California, Georgia, Idaho, Florida, Missouri, Minnesota, Utah, Nevada, Colorado, and others is extreme. This is a lot that is going on within the world of HOAs. And it seems to me things are going to change dramatically, especially with technology, especially with fintech. People like to talk about what's the point of crypto? The point of crypto is so that you, as a property owner in an HOA, can know what your account balances are and have the leverage of that to take the leverage of knowledge and accessibility away from other partners. That is more or less what crypto can do. It's going to take a lot of legislation. It's not even about code or technical ability. It's about the law catching up. And if there is one place where I believe states across the union would be willing to go into a stablecoin environment, it is for HOAs. If they know if the HOAs can be FDIC insured, if you can give access to direct bank accounts to HOA board members and even HOAs. I think that's where this is going. I think you're going to see a radical transparency level to a degree which is like the existing industry is not going to have a difficult time because the standards are just hyper transparency, hyper transparency, hyper transparency. And it's not an easy industry. It's not an easy industry. I would say it's a very difficult industry. But the existing players have not solved the problem. And the problem is as bad as ever, if not worse than ever. So, whether it's California or Georgia or Florida or Nevada or Utah or whatever, Carolina, South Carolina, North Carolina, it is a big deal. A few dozen HOA board members, community management companies, law firms attended an advocacy day at the state capitol organized by CAI. HOA community said funding is central to how associations operate. The only income HOAs have are from assessments. The issue isn't about the income. The issue, again, is about the expenses. The issue is about the way, and I think that, you know, there's certain techniques available, maybe not today, but within a few years, where you're going to have just laws saying that HOAs need direct connection to their bank accounts because it's available, it's freely available. They need direct connection to their daily transactions. This is what HOAs must do to deleverage their property managers and to re-leverage themselves. Whether you're a board member, whether you're a homeowner, you are trying to re-leverage yourself, to put yourself in more control of your property and to take your property out of control of other stakeholders. Over anything else, that is what you're looking to do. Over any other thing, that is what you are looking to do. Give me 1 moment. It's going to be so different once I start putting out freaking videos. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to put out videos across multiple formats. Oh, great. So yeah, let's go back to this. The only income HOAs have are from assessments. Huge learning curve when you join a board. There's so much to know. And this is, I think, where people get completely blindsided is at the purchase of their property. If you purchase into an HOA, you are signing up for a business. You are signing up to become a business owner of a corporation that is a community association. You own a share of that business, and that share is usually defined in some governing document. And you're provided a set of governing documents that tell you these are the rules as a member of the association you must live by. Rules and regulations, CCRs, bylaws, additional policies, whatever else. And most people, that goes over their head, or they completely don't even attempt to acknowledge it. And that's where a lot of the issues come. It's just awareness. It's just context. It's just education. And the amount of transparency not only being demanded, but actually just occurring. Sure, it's demanded, but I mean, you look at the state of social media, there is nothing that doesn't get hyper networked very quickly. Very quickly, the laws of networking are just bulldozing through our society. Bulldozing. You see it time and time again where these things on Twitter, these things on Facebook, these things on Instagram, they are so persistent. And you think that they would stop, but they persist for years. They persist for years. There's no forgetting in the age of social media. There's no forgetting in the age of social media, unfortunately. And you have to be aware, you have to be accountable. And that's why in HOAs, the hyper transparency mechanism is inherent now. it is no choice. And when AI comes and when DeFi comes, maybe AI today can't do it, but it's all about context. Like I commented towards this VC who was talking about context. It's about context, giving your AI agent more context. Once they have that context, they can make much better authoritative decisions. And with that authoritative decision making, you and the ability to communicate those decisions, man, it really starts looking more like a horse and a car versus a person with AI is going to replace you. I mean, and maybe, we talk about things like the printing press and the car and various revolutions, industrial, agricultural, where things shifted, you know, creating agriculture, creating a field of plant, crops. Yeah, that was a revolution, but it didn't mimic intelligence unless you're counting, the photosynthesis within the plants and the plant life intelligence, which we're not going to. And then same thing with the industrial revolution. It's not like those steam mills, turbines, coal engines were intelligent. And then you can possibly even talk about the printing press, which may be the closest thing, printing press and computer. Even the computer wasn't intelligent. The computer couldn't talk to you. It certainly couldn't talk to you at the rate that this AI can. So the big difference is that these AIs pass the Turing test. That's a huge difference. And it's what I think is more incredible than that they passed the Turing test is that they seemed to have passed the Turing test out of nowhere. Like, granted, we heard about AI in 2015 and 2016, but it kind of died. And then you had for 4 years just a lot of Web3 stuff, a lot of Web3 stuff. I would say actually between 2016 and 2021, AI took a back seat to Web3 for sure. And then October of 2021 or 2022 or November, ChatGPT releases or OpenAI releases ChatGPT 3.5. I don't actually know which one it was. The one that was the one that really changed everything and that passed the Turing test. I mean, maybe not that one, but certainly at this point, 4 years later, we're at a position where these things are passing Turing tests for sure. Maybe they don't make sense, but so do a lot of humans. And so it passed the Turing test. It doesn't have enough context, probably not as sophisticated as you'd like to be making, multiple choice decisions. And I think that's what you have to look at. It's like you have these wide range questions or these questions with a wide range of answers. You have true false questions and you have multiple choice questions. And a lot of agents are simply going to be making decisions against, those. Is this a free range question that you're going to be attempting to make a response on? Are you going to do like a choice between 4 or 5 different options, or is this a true false where you're going to come in and tell me this whatever you're evaluating or is true or false? And just, I think at this point it's all about context. And as a company that does computer vision and property technology, we certainly believe that computer vision is going to be a context where AI can make a lot better decisions. SB 406 would create a 5-person board through the Secretary of State's office to receive complaints and conduct investigations. I personally don't like this. This is not going to help. And the way I imagine something like this going, um, actually, I can imagine this five-person board being overwhelmed to the point where your complaints and investigations would actually be significantly delayed. I'm not saying that would happen, but just thinking from a logistic standpoint, a bureaucratic standpoint, this is adding more bureaucracy and it doesn't actually help. It doesn't actually help. What really is going to help associations is yes, if there's criminal activity, you have to get the states involved, but more so, it is about accessibility to information. It's about having a transparent flow. It's about deleveraging your stakeholders and re-leveraging your property owners. In order to do that, you need accessibility. You need open governance. You need direct connection to your finances. You cannot allow your information to go away from the property and stick to stakeholders. Whenever you're working with external stakeholders, you must request that they input the information into your system because that's how you're going to guard yourself as a property. That's how you're going to guard yourself as a property. Okay, now we're going to go here. HOA task force punts on effort to alter dispute resolution. Proposal before Nevada Real Estate Division, common interest communities. Requires HOAs have a dispute involving governing documents. Divert cases from congested court dockets. See, this is exact. Yeah. Exactly. The division's goal is to promote a process that is convenient, cost effective, and quicker. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So move it more towards an arbitration process. The trick here is always the cost. The arbitration process costs a little more, but we're committed to figuring out a way to fund some of that or subsidize like we do the mediation program. 3 types of ADR: referee, mediation, and arbitration. The referee requires both parties agree to participate. It allows both sides to make their case to an independent referee who, after listening to an argument and reviewing the evidence, makes a non-binding decision. Mediation is the default form. Parties provide a statement of the dispute, relevant documents, and a proposal for resolving this dispute. Work with the mediator to resolve their issues and produce a written agreement. No one can be forced to accept a resolution. Should mediation fail, the parties can agree to proceed to arbitration. The arbitrator decides the outcome, can be binding or non-binding. So all very costly. And that's why, man, I mean, people talk about home ownership and there is nothing more romanticized in the United States than home ownership. It is expensive. There are 50% of the times, I won't say 50, but if you make the wrong purchase at the wrong time in the wrong location, and even if you make the right purchase at the right time at the right location, depending on your life circumstances, that's 30 to 50 years of obligations, depending on if this 50-year mortgage comes in. And when it comes to HOAs, people like to think that their home is their castle. Well, with an HOA, you're going to have a difficult time implementing that. You're more so the owner of this piece of land inside, but you're held to a lot of restrictions, and understanding those restrictions is the most important thing. The most important thing. HOA governance structure, which is based on the corporate model, lacks the checks and balances that typically constrain cities from abusing their residents. Theoretically protects owners from abusive boards by giving them power to elect and remove the board. However, individual owners who lack the political clout to mount a recall or successful run for the board have little recourse against board misconduct. Yeah, it's not simple. That's why it's a form of government. And if you want to purchase real estate, I mean, don't get sucked into a trap where people tell you have to purchase real estate because you need to think about your future. You can purchase stocks. Stocks have done just as well. Granted, you're still going to have to pay rent. You're still going to lose all that rent. None of that rent, unlike a mortgage, is going to go back into your equity. But you can leave. You can pick up and leave. You don't have to make a huge commitment. You can just commit, month to month. And, you can live somewhere you want to live. So don't get sucked into a trap that says purchasing real estate is what you need to do. All right, so we'll move on. And it could be what you need to do. It's honestly many times a great decision, but you have to be aware of what you're doing. Residents of Madisonville Townhome Community are locked in a legal dispute with their HOA over responsibility for exterior repairs, insurance funds, and ongoing maintenance. Say mold, roof leaks, and structural damage have made some properties unlivable, moved into federal bankruptcy after the association filed for bankruptcy protection. Whoa, heart-wrenching. One of the homes belonged to Catherine Watts and her husband, who lives in New York. They just claim there's no responsibility. They don't even talk to us. Exactly, man. Residents say a portion of their fees paid to the association was intended to cover exterior insurance and maintenance, paid dues after Hurricane Ida. It's tough, man. I'm going to actually probably write a post about this. One of the homes belonged to Catherine Watts and her husband, who live in New York. Just claimed, yeah, so he said that. I don't know what happened with all the money they received from the insurance company. Association filed for bankruptcy protection in federal court. I mean, this is all pointing to a very stagnant position in the home market. I think in the next, you're going to see prices stagnate for, I think, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, even as rates go down. It's just you have like a smorgasbord. One, you have the silver tsunami. Baby boomers are leaving their homes. Two, they're also the ones with the Gen Z and millennials have. Actually, I believe millennials are good with their wealth, but Gen Z is not as wealthy as you'd hope they would be. And therefore they have very little purchasing power. And Gen Z has gone from, millennials, Gen X, boomers. Home ownership was a huge goal for them. It is the goal. Gen Z has given up on home ownership. And I think that's going to change in 10 to 15 years where they're all, you're going to see them purchasing homes. But for the next 5-10 years, when you take HOAs, when you take the demographics of the nation, both regarding wealth and regarding age, it seems like it's not going to go too far. But then you also have inflation, so you never know. Filed the lawsuit against the HOA, filed for bankruptcy in federal court, show the association is seeking to collect outstanding HOA dues as part of the bankruptcy process. Community is in a townhome development, not condos, and that different rules apply. The association amended the document in December 2025, reclassifying the community as townhomes. Amended language states that each townhome owner is responsible for their complete maintenance of their property, both exterior and interior. Whoa. Drawn attention from state senator who said reviewing concerns related to HOA governance. Patrick McMath. Yeah, I'm going to contact him. See, and then, oops. Great. It's just a crazy, crazy world right now. The Western Auto sign. Okay, so now we're in a new one. The Western Auto sign has lit up the Kansas City skyline since '52. Union was established in 1892. Perfect fit and perfect partnership. Multiple light bulbs were found to be broken, and it was turned off on July 7th. Working with the city to find a solution, the HOA owns and maintains the sign. Wow. The union has been in talks with the city and HOA since October. Asked the union about getting involved with a possible sponsorship. Lots of damage on the sign. Hired another company there to do it, and the company wasn't competent enough. Wow. They offered the HOA a deal, pay to restore the sign with LEDs and make it weather resistant, maintain the sign throughout its life cycle, add permanent sponsorship sign at the bottom, and the HOA would continue to own the sign. Would be as far as the latest LED and illumination, probably looking at around a little more than $600,000. Sign separate from it so it wouldn't interfere with the iconic sign. Turned down the offer, stating the board isn't interested in a sponsorship sign for the Western Auto SIP sign. The mayor believes they should come to an agreement. Mayor wants the sign to be maintained and tries to keep a good agreement. And he wants to make sure that that IBEW offered to do the sign with a simple caveat of sponsorship, so it looks like it was a friendly deal. That's the HOA's property. I mean, that sign can fall, it can damage the rest of the structure. It's a huge liability. More assets, more costs, more problems. So that has continued, is going to continue. All right, great. Homeowners Associations struggling with neighborhood problems is a tale as old as time. Many governments, this is from the Boise Dev, Eagle City Council member, newly sworn in, said she's working to set up a new committee made up of local HOA. Mentioned the idea to the rest of this elected city council. HOAs are governed by state statutes and their own bylaws in Idaho. Dues, disclosing spending, elections, or resident control. Great. Great. And I'm looking at this here. Let me show you guys. So that part right there needs to be fixed. And then this part right here. Oh, well, that's decent. There you go. That one needs to be moved down a bit. That one's really nice. That one's really nice too, just when it gets rendered. That one needs to go higher. That one needs to be lower. And I think that one's wrong too. I think it's supposed to be the building right next to it. And this one is just inside of the mountain. Sea house. This one's too high. All right. All right. Well, in that case, I am going to continue the stream actually. And I think that's it for now. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Complete and utter humility. That's what you need in your life. Complete and utter humility across multiple domains. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna call it. There's nothing more I can add. But thank you, everyone. This was great. Day one. Still have a lot more to put out there, but gonna keep hammering. Take care.